Everyone always ranks Souls bosses based on how hard they are, or if they're their favorite or not. But I'm here today to ask the real questions, the important ones that matter. If I found myself lost in Lordran and needing to bunk with someone, where should I go? I'm going off the assumption that all the bosses live in their boss arenas, because frankly I haven't seen them anywhere else, have you? I'll also be rating each boss out of 5 stars, 5 being a really nice place to live, and 1 being just slightly better than living in the street. So without further ado, which boss is going to make me feel like home, and which boss is going to make me feel like sleeping in a coffin instead? I'm Blake, and let's find out. My first stop is to the Undead Asylum to visit the Asylum Demon, and honestly, it's an okay setup. It's reasonably spacious with multiple entrances and exits. However, with any good property, it's about location, 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 and this location sucks. Living on the top of the mountain in the middle of nowhere sounds cool until you need to pop to the store for some taco shells and realize it's a 45-minute bird ride away. The Asylum Demon also has a bunch of junk lying around, and I do not appreciate that mess. Things already aren't going great with this guy, but it just gets even worse after he moves out. Imagine my surprise when I find out that the floor is incredibly broken, and what's even worse is that his brother's been living in the basement this whole time. I don't know about you, but the one thing I need for the place I'm living is a fucking floor, and if you don't have that, then it's just unacceptable. 1 out of 5 stars. Next is the Undead Berg, and it looks like the Taurus Demon has some room. While I'm not crazy about the fact that it's entirely outdoors, the worst part is probably the privacy. I thought we had an agreement where he can have his tower and I'll have mine, but the Taurus Demon just loves jumping into my room and bugging me to hang out. And he just goes on and on about how he misses Lost Izalith. Go find it then. This guy's clingy in all the wrong ways, but the location in the Berg is pretty nice. 3 out of 5. If you're ever near the Undead Parish and the Bell Gargoyles have a listing, be warned they will scam you. You'd think the Bell Gargoyles would have just some decent setup, but no. All you get is a roof. And not a flat roof that you can spread out on, but an angled roof with a really deadly pitch as well. The last thing I need in the middle of the night is to turn the wrong way and end up rolling out of my house to my doom below. Again, no ceilings, so I'll just have to keep my toes crossed it doesn't rain, but that's not even the worst part. Halfway through my stay here, the Bell Gargoyle decided to invite his buddy over to share the roof with us. And his breath was fucking awful. He said he'd just be here for a few days, but it's been a few months, and as far as I know, he's still there. 1 out of 5, incredibly undesirable. Some might say that the lower Undead Berg is sketchy, and there's lots of crime, and you have a high risk of being stabbed, but I just call that character. My roommate here is the Capra Demon, and immediate upside, he's got 2 dogs. Sure, it's really cramped, and I feel kind of uncomfortable when the Capra Demon looks at me, but 2 dogs? 5 out of 5, definitely a cool place to crash if you're unfortunately in the area. The depths certainly isn't the best place to live. In fact, I'd say it's pretty shitty, but the Gaping Dragon is far from the worst roommate. Granted, it's pretty damp, and the Gaping Dragon can be pretty clumsy, and there's a guy shooting at me all the time. Okay, maybe this place isn't so great. The dragon himself is a fine fella. His house is just a bit of a shithole. He does actually have a very serious eating disorder where he got so hungry that his entire torso grew teeth, but there's not really much to eat in the sewers other than rats and, other sewer stuff. 2 out of 5, the stench is literally awful. You know what? I've had enough of these boys and their subpar homes. I'm gonna try and bunk it with a woman this time. Uh-oh. I roll into it. Stop it then. Jesus! I hit the fucking fire behind me. Ah ha ha. Okay, so that went poorly. Now, before you sickos comment about it, I'll let you know that no, it wasn't the fact that she had her boobs out the whole time. It's her house too. She's more than welcome to that freedom. The real problem is how territorial Quelaag is. You know in the sitcoms where two roomies will have an argument so they'll divide the house in half with like tape or something? She does that too, but with lava. And it's not just down the middle either, the line is constantly changing. Some days she's out of the house and I get the whole place to myself. Other days she decides that my little corner is too much for me. While I'm not crazy about living in a spider's nest, she's the only spider, so that definitely makes it better. Granted, she does have a legion of little guys who are always outside moaning about how much they want to bear her eggs or something, I don't know. 3 out of 5, the location is fine, but my roommate is just a bit too much for me. As it turns out, Quelaag has a really big family, and her only other brother actually lives nearby. He's a bit of an idiot though, seeing as he was given a ring to help him become immune to lava. Which he dropped in the lava, but he's nice. He's really chill and we've spent many a night having really deep conversations about life. I even have my own little nook, look at this. It sounds really good, and it was. Until I mentioned his dead sister, to which he responded with extreme violence. He doesn't even wait for me to get to my room anymore. He just meets me at the door as soon as he hears me step through the fog gate. 4 out of 5, a really great place to stay until it isn't. For my safety, I decide to head back to the surface and head to Sen's fortress to see the Iron Golem. It's really strange because I've never felt so safe and unsafe at the same time. On the one hand, my house is protected by a bunch of swinging axes and rolling boulders and a really large gate to keep the riffraff out. On the other hand, my bedroom is really small. Oh, and it's a tiny platform with no railings to stop me from falling to my death. The golem himself doesn't have much of a personality, but it's nice to feel protected at least. 4 out of 5. I don't know who Sen is, but I hope he doesn't mind that I'm crashing here. We've had a pretty good streak this last little while. Let's keep it up by moving to Anor Londo, the fancy part of town. I found a nice place to stay in the main cathedral with 2 guys who seem pretty chill. However, I am scared that one day one of these guys is gonna snap, specifically Smo. He's an executioner by day and finds an uncomfortable amount of joy in his job. It's probably just a superstition though. This guy wouldn't hurt a fly. 5 out of 5. I'm living the high life now, baby. So you know how sometimes in fiction you'll hear someone say, "Aw, this city will chew you up and spit you out." Well, that might have happened. See, I was out on the town one night and ran into this girl and we started hitting it off. I gave her my number, she gave me her, bowl. Well, as it turns out, that may or may not have been the Sun Princess Guinevere, and when we started exploring the relationship and taking it a bit more serious, I kinda stumbled onto the fact that she was not real and actually an illusion made by her younger brother Gwendolyn, who is my current roommate. So getting catfished wasn't exactly on my cards, and getting caught apparently wasn't in his either. Cause now he is really mad at me, and let me tell you, the last thing I need when I really need to take a pee is for Gwendolyn to use his domain expansion and send the bathroom 4 kilometers away. 3 out of 5. The house is still really nice, but the situation is just too awkward. Wanting to isolate myself, I take a plunge into the painted world of Ariamis and meet probably the nicest roomie yet, Priscilla. While it's a little drafty and it's admittedly a place where all of the rejects of society go, Priscilla is actually really sweet, and let's face it, I'm not a prince or anything. She can turn invisible, and I wouldn't be surprised if she snuck into my room to get a look at my, let's face it, killer physique. But I'm probably flattering myself because she's just a really nice, normal person. 5 out of 5, would live again. While I might have found my forever home, I still gotta go see the sights, so the nearby library is my next stop. Seath is interesting. He keeps making these experiments that just keep begging me to be killed, and it's kind of exhausting. He's got this crystal that he's super protective of, so I just kind of stay away from that corner, but otherwise it's okay. I always find myself looking in a mirror, seeing as the walls and floor and ceiling are all made of crystal. Damn, do I really look like that? Okay. 4 out of 5, my ego's never been bigger. let's head back to the demon ruins and see what we've got, and oh my god, it's you again. While not related to the Asylum Demon or his brother, the Demon Fire Sage has really let this place and his life go the way of the depths. Overgrown branches everywhere, roots coming out of the ground, and he won't stop going on and on about how he was the first pyromancer. This guy is stuck in the glory days and really needs to improve himself before he's ready to live with someone else. 3 out of 5. Remember a while ago when I said that Ceaseless Discharge dropped his lava-proof lava ring into the lava? Well, the lava ring now has sentience and a mortgage. I gotta respect the Centipede Demon's hustle, and it is very warm here, I'll give him that. I get my own little corner, and he has all the lava to himself. He's a pretty sweet guy, but there's one problem. I'd never say this to his face, and I don't believe this about anyone. But he's ugly. Hideous, in fact, and I quite frankly can't stand looking at him or seeing him or hearing him or smelling him for a second longer. Sorry, Centipede Demon, it's not personal, it's just, I don't like you. As a person. 3 out of 5. Yo, Taurus Demon, I found it! Yeah, so the mother of all demons lives here, and I gotta say, this place really isn't up to code. Don't get me wrong, the slide into this place is totally awesome, but it's the fact that this place is quite literally falling apart. The Witch of Izalith doesn't resemble her old self anymore. In fact, she more so resembles a cursed little baby. And when I mean this place is falling apart, I mean incredibly literally, this place is in shambles. 1 out of 5. Can we put her in a home already? I'm worried for her health. Well, now that I'm contemplating my own mortality, let's go hang out with some dead folks in the catacombs. Pinwheel has an open room, and oh, those are a whole bunch of bodies. All over my belongings and on the walls and floor and ceiling. Yeah, so it turns out after fusing his son and his wife to himself, Pinwheel has now become 3 people in one body and is hell-bent on becoming... not that? Yeah, so do you guys pay for 3/4 of the rent, or how does that work? You know what, you've got your own thing going on, I'll just see myself out. 2 out of 5, the most uncomfortable experience I've had thus far. Gravelord Neato actually lives nearby, and I'm told that he is very beloved in the skeleton community. After paying a visit, I can confirm that he is in fact very beloved in the skeleton community. So beloved in fact that I don't actually know how many people live with him. There are people over all the time, and Neato just can't stop blasting heavy metal music. You can say it's a pretty toxic living environment. 1 out of 5. I'm not a skeleton yet, so there's nothing for me here. I haven't been to the surface in a while, so let's go check out the forest, and oh my god, look at the size of that bug. As horrific as it initially is, the moonlight butterfly is actually pretty peaceful. There isn't really much going on here, but honestly, I've had enough busyness in the past few days that this is more than welcome. 4 out of 5, a bit off the beaten path, but it's still really nice. Next on our list is, oh my god, it's a big puppy! While Sif is undeniably adorable, we haven't actually gotten a chance to connect like I wanted to. Sif is still pretty upset about her old master dying, so there's not really an easy way in for me there. Yeah, I don't think Sif is too thrilled about someone else moving into her house, and she won't directly say anything, but I've seen the glares sent my way. I don't feel welcome, so I'm just gonna politely pet a couple times before swiftly leaving. 3 out of 5, sorry about your dead dad. 4 kings? Pfft, more like 5 kings when I move in. But in all seriousness, this place blows. There's no furniture, or TV, or fridge, or even a toilet. When you gotta take a leak, you kinda just have to turn your back away from everyone else and just go into the abyss. These guys say that they're doing good, but they're not. They need some help. 1 out of 5. Sorry, fellas. Buy a rug or something. You know, everything these days feels so expensive. What if I went back in time to before inflation when things were a bit cheaper? Okay, I went too far. This place isn't even that nice. It's just a pond. I can't sleep in a pond. Well, except I did. And it wasn't great. 3 out of 5, because the smell of the flowers was nice at least. So, remember Sif's dead dad? Well, good news, he's mostly alive now. He just mutters to himself incoherently about the pull of the abyss and kinda gives me really bad vibes, but the place is nice. We're right by town and the waterfall, and there's lots of space for me to find a corner of the circle to set up shop in. 3 out of 5. Please don't kill me in my sleep, at least wait until I'm awake. Okay, this is news to me, but apparently dragons don't like getting shot with giant arrows, and they like it even less when the person who set them up for it moves in behind the waterfall in their house. Yeah, the location is really nice, but unfortunately my roommate is actively trying to make my life worse, and that's usually not great. 2 out of 5. Sorry for shooting you out of the sky. My B. Last time I was in the abyss, it was depressing, but maybe it wasn't always like that. Take a look at Manus. I mean, this guy is literally the father of the abyss. Like it's literal dad, I assume, I don't know. His setup is great too. He's got a floor. He's got some rocks. Alright, it's not the Ritz, but it's not the worst thing I've seen. He's a bit manic and is probably super evil, but I don't mind because rent is so cheap. 200 souls a month? That's practically free. What's that? Cash only? Oh man, I don't have cash. Screw this. 3 out of 5. I went too far back in time. Alright, the final house is here, and who left this ash everywhere? Gwyn has a decent pad. Sure, you'd expect the god of Lordran to have a bit more, but hey, at least it always smells like a campfire. He does have the same piano track on loop though, which sounds really good at first until you've heard it for your 3rd or 4th consecutive hour. Yes, plin plin plon, I get it. 3 out of 5, at least he takes debit. And now, with our tour of Lordran complete, it's finally time. Who is the best roommate to have and who is the worst? The best for me is definitely Priscilla in the Painted World. She's super kind to everyone, she's really clean, and she makes a mean chili. The worst is probably the Bed of Chaos in Lost Izalith. That place is lost for a reason, and frankly the Witch of Izalith should really be put in a care home, or at least move in with one of her 7 children. Thanks for watching this. If you liked it, like it, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitch, and all that fun stuff. Tell me where you would want to live in Lordran. Is it all of the places? Because, yeah, me neither. Cut that, hold on. Make sure to comment where you'd want to live in Lordran, and if it's the same as mine, I'll accuse you for stealing. Okay, thanks, bye. Mwah.